This video will demonstrate how to complete the INDA 100 Pipe Symbols 2 drawing. This drawing will show how to do single line and double line pipe on short segments. The pipe can be represented on drawings as either single line or double line. Any pipe 12 inches and smaller is typically drawn single line, and pipe 14 inches and larger is drawn double line. Single line drawings are used to identify the center line of the pipe. Double lines are used to represent the pipe's nominal pipe diameter. Beginning with the drawing itself, you'll need to download it from Canvas and open it up in regular AutoCAD on your computer. At the top, we will be drawing a section of 4-inch pipe 12 inches long. I don't need to go to the chart to look up the actual diameter, because when you're drawing single line pipe, you only draw at the nominal pipe size, which in this case would be 4 inches. So to begin here, we're going to start by drawing the circle, and I'll just say, okay, here's my center, the end view of my pipe. It has a diameter of 4 inches. So this circle represents the end view of the pipe, but that's not enough. What we need to do is show the symbol here, which looks like the little S that's hatched on one side, showing that we're looking at the end view of the pipe. To do that, I'll go back to use the circle command again. This time I'll use the center radius option and a couple of object snaps here. So between there and there's my center, and there, and then I'm going to copy this circle from there to there and trim out what I don't need. So I don't need that, and I don't need that. Then to complete this end view out, I will hatch the end here. So using the hatch command, I will say hatch that side there, and I have it as a scale of 2 so that the pattern isn't too dense, closing the hatch creation. That's all we need for the end view of this pipe. Now to draw the length of it here, we'll say okay. Now I'm going to draw a line, and I want to begin at the center of this and come out here, and it doesn't matter where I start, it just needs to be 12 inches long, so I'll say 12 inches. This line right here is going to represent the center line of my pipe. To draw the end views now, we don't just draw it straight, but we put the little S type symbol here again to show that it's just a segment of the pipe. I'll begin by offsetting that center line 2 inches each direction. Again, that's just half of the nominal pipe size, so that it's 4 inches from here to here. Then I'm going to use the axis end option of the ellipse command to draw in an ellipse here. And I like to just come in, and there's no rule about what it's supposed to be, but I like to make this second dimension right here 1/8 of whatever the pipe is. The pipe diameter is, so I'll say that's 0.5 there. It makes it look about right. And then I'll just copy that from the top to the bottom and trim off what I don't need. So now this represents the open end of the pipe, and then on the other side over here we'll also have the open end on the other way. We don't, however, need this outside line and this outside line the whole distance. So I'm going to draw a line in here just to help me with some construction techniques here. I'm going to offset this, let's say in this case, 3/4 of an inch, and trim off what I don't need. Only reason I'm doing this is to have a short line segment here saying, hey, this pipe actually goes the whole distance, but I'm not going to draw the whole thing in. So this is the end, and then we'll have the same end over here. Now I need another end over here, but rather than mirroring this around so that the open end is at the bottom, I'm going to use the array command, and I'm going to array these things around the midpoint of that line. I need 2 items, and I have the associativity turned off so that if I needed to modify this one for any reason, I could. So now this is the single line view of the pipe as the side, and this is the end view of that pipe. This right here, however, this line needs to be a heavy line. If I look at the layer properties on my pipe layer, it has a very thin 0.30 line weight, but it should be thicker on just this one line. So I'm going to select just that one line and go up here to my Properties panel and change that line weight to 0.53 so that when it prints, it'll show as a thick line. It's not thick now. If I were to turn my line weights on here, you'll see that it is actually a thick line. So that's how you're going to do the top. The bottom is very much the same. So if I come down here, this should say 14-inch pipe, not 12-inch pipe. Let me change that real quick. Okay, I've got a 14-inch pipe, 12 inches long. There's no need to redraw all of this stuff because it's going to be the same, just bigger. So what I suggest you do is just come up here and say, okay, let's copy this right here, and I'll copy it, say, from here, just down here somewhere like this, okay? In fact, I could do it for the whole thing. Let me just undo that real quick, and I'll just say, okay, let's take and copy this whole thing from here down to here. Okay, we're going to start off by scaling this a little bit bigger. So I go to Scale, I select the objects that I want to scale. It asks me for a base point. I'll choose the center of that circle, and then it asks me for a scale factor. Well, we're going from 4 inches to 14 inches, and you could do the multiplication and figure it out, or you could just use the reference option. It asks you for the reference length, which in this case is 4 inches. And then it asks you for the new length, which is 14 inches. So notice that I already had it typed in there. So now this pipe, if I were to measure it, is actually 14 inches in diameter. If I go from that endpoint there to that endpoint there, you'll see here that it is indeed 14 inches long. Okay. Same thing with these here. Okay. I'm going to erase this one, and I'm going to move this over a little bit so that it all fits. I have to be careful because it's pretty close on how we're going to get it to fit on this drawing. This needs to be 14 inches in diameter as well. So again, I'll go to Scale. I'll select the objects that I want to scale, which are just the end of the line, not the line itself. My base point on this one would be the center there. And I need to say reference, R for reference. And again, my reference length is 4, the new length is 14, and you'll see now that that lines up and that lines up. Again, I'll need to move this so that I can have plenty of room. Oops, plenty of room for it all to fit. So let me do this again. Move it over just a touch. Notice my ortho is on, and I'm keeping these close. I'm going to take now, and I'm going to again array these to the other side, but this time I'm only going to array the ellipses and not the lines. You'll see why in a second. I need 2 of them, and okay, and then I can just take and I can extend using the extend command. I can extend that, and I can extend that. Okay, so this is now single line. A couple things that we need to change is this line right here now does not need to be a visible line, but it should be a center line. So I'll change that to the center line layer, and it should extend past a little bit. So I'm going to stretch it out, say, oh, I don't know, 1 inch on this direction and 1 inch in this direction. As long as it goes past, that's what really matters. And then finally, I'm going to use my move command to take these objects and get them so that they fit inside my borders. I know it's tight, but you can make it all fit in there. So we've got now a 14-inch diameter pipe that's 12 inches long from here to here. What I'm really looking at here is that you've got the right nominal pipe sizes on all of these and that you're ready to go.